Yesterday, Israel launched a strike on residential building in Qatar. Israeli leaders say they were targeting senior Hamas leadership who were hiding out in Doha. Hamas have responded saying that none of their leadership team were killed in the strike. On the Qatari side, they are heavily condemning this and are reserving the right to retaliate.
Joining us now to talk more about the strike's impact is the Chief of Staff of the CSIS Geopolitics Department, Will Todman. Will, thanks for joining us this morning. What response are we expecting, or are you expecting, from the Qatari government?
Thanks so much for having me. So Qatar likes to depict itself as kind of the Switzerland of the Middle East. And so although, as you just said, it has said that they reserve the right to respond, I think really we would be talking about diplomatic measures to be taken against Israel. They have talked about launching an inquiry to see if Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has breached international law. But I think what they'll be trying to do is gather their international partners, particularly those in the Gulf, and really make sure that there is a united stand against Israel to help deter Israel from conducting any kind of attack like this again. And last night, President Trump said that he would guarantee that this would not happen again on Qatari soil. So I think the Qataris are feeling that the U.S. was taken by surprise by this action and that they are on board in trying to prevent this from happening again.
Todd, when you look at risk reward, right, it doesn't seem like there was much reward side for Israel on this. Not only are the people in Doha clearly not happy, the other states in the region are not happy, and President Trump isn't happy that he only found out in the last seconds before it went down.
Yeah, I think you're right, Hillary. I think if we look at the actions that Israel has taken since those awful attacks of October the 7th, 2023, we see that Prime Minister Netanyahu's risk tolerance has gone up and up as he has taken increasingly audacious steps to try to secure Israel's interests as he sees it. We saw that with the pager attack in Lebanon that killed so many Hezbollah operatives, but also on strikes on Middle Eastern capitals across the region, from Tehran to Damascus to Sana'a in Yemen just a few weeks ago. So I think for him, he probably feels that each time he's taken a risk, it has paid off. But this appears to be the first time that Israel has really failed in achieving its aims. As far as we know, this did not succeed in taking out the Hamas leadership team in Doha as Israel had intended to do. So I think you're right that the risks and the backlash that Israel is now seeing is likely to far outweigh any benefit that Israel might have received from achieving its aims.
So, Todd, obviously, in addition to attacks in Gaza and the West Bank, as you mentioned, Israel has attacked other states around the Middle East. And we have a list that we can put up for our viewers just to put a bit of a finer point on it. You talked about Yemen, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, now Qatar. Is there anywhere else Benjamin Netanyahu or the Israeli military would consider attacking that has some sort of a tie to Hamas or any other terrorist group that might want to do Israel harm?
Well, I think this is the great fear of Middle Eastern states, and we use the word unprecedented a lot, I think, too much when we talk about events in the Middle East. But the fact that Israel struck a U.S. ally, Qatar is a major non-NATO ally of the United States, and a member of the Gulf Cooperation Council, that's a first. That's unprecedented. And I think that raises real concerns among others, Saudi Arabia, even the UAE, Bahrain, Oman perhaps, that Israel is unrestrained now, and it's willing to take increasingly bold actions to try to secure its own security. And so, although I don't think there are any natural states that would come next in the line, Qatar is the only state that hosts a large delegation from Hamas. I think the others are very concerned. And then I think on Qatar's side, one of the reasons why they're so outraged by this is that the United States asked Qatar to host the Hamas delegation, and Israel has actually allowed Qatar over the years to transfer millions of dollars in aid to Hamas in Gaza. And so I think Qatar would say, you asked us to do this, you cooperated with us, And now you attack us for doing that. And so I think that's why the outrage is so strong.
Well, it makes it look like that was Israel's play all along. And besides that, there are still hostages being held in Gaza. I heard the mother of one of those hostages being interviewed on the BBC, and she said that's it. She believes it's the death knell for her son.
Yes, the Hamas delegation in Doha had reportedly gathered to discuss the latest ceasefire proposal that the Trump administration had put forward. As you know, these ceasefire agreements have included releasing certain numbers of Israeli hostages that are still held captive by Hamas in Gaza in exchange for a cessation of hostilities. And I think now these ceasefire talks have broken down. Israel is talking about continuing with its ground assault on Gaza City. This is an area of Gaza that is densely populated and would probably result in the displacement of more than 1 million Palestinians. And that puts real risks for the hostages that are still alive and being held probably in some of those areas. So I think, unfortunately, one of the outcomes of this strike yesterday is that the prospects of a ceasefire have really dimmed significantly now, unless the United States and the Trump administration chooses to change course and to really place pressure on Israel to adjust its strategy. I think we're likely to see that assault on Gaza City go forward. And there could well be casualties of Israeli hostages as a result.
So, Will, last question I'll ask you then, is there anybody that can restrain Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu here?
I think there is. I mean, I think that person is President Donald Trump. So far, it seems that he is broadly aligned with Israel's strategic goals here. He, of course, has talked about the idea of Gaza becoming a Riviera of the Middle East, of relocating Palestinians there. These are things that that Prime Minister Netanyahu also favors. But we're seeing increasing international pressure from European countries. France, the UK, Canada as well are expected to recognize a Palestinian state at the UN General Assembly next week. But that pressure so far has failed to result in a change of strategy for the Israelis. And I think now really the only actor that would be able to do so is the Trump administration. But we have not yet seen President Trump say that he really disagrees with the course that Israel is taking.
All righty, Will Todman with CSIS, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.